Today, I am so excited to have a life mentor and mindset coach to join us and to talk a bit about how she can help you with your small business, with your product business, and how you can help avoid burnout and how you can stop getting into your own head and focusing too much on proaction and stopping you from achieving whatever you want to achieve. So today, I've got Alexandra. Welcome, Alexandra. Please introduce yourself and let us know how you came to what you do and give us a bit more background about you.
My name is Alexandra Nivukoski. I'm from Finland. My business is named Mental Coach Alexandra, and I started my business back in 2023, in February to be exact, after having a pretty severe burnout. So I was in a corporate job for 3 years. During the last year, from 2021 to 2022, I could feel the stress building up more and more. And then one sunny day in June 2022, I hit the wall, literally. Like, I got home and I just crashed mentally. No symptoms that could be seen from the outside, but yeah. So then I spent 6 months on sick leave, and then I realized, shit, I have to do something that I really enjoy doing on a daily basis.
Welcome to the show, where we're ready to grow. Alexandra Chapman here to let you know. We're diving deep into the world of success. Get ready to learn, cause we're here to impress. From entrepreneurship to the latest trends, we'll explore all the ways to make ends in this fast-paced, ever-changing game. We're gonna set your dreams aflame. The Abundant Business Podcast. It's time to ignite with Samuel Chapman, leading the fight. Get ready to elevate your business game. Join us now. It's time to reclaim.
Were there any symptoms that you were finding as you came to this point of burnout? Like, was there anything for you as you were going about your day-to-day life, and then did it make you feel a certain way? Were thoughts going through your head of a certain thing?
My biggest challenge was my head. It was spinning 24/7, thinking about work all the time. So for about a year, I could feel like this is not healthy anymore. But I kept on pushing and pushing, and I had a lot of other symptoms as well. I had tension, headaches from my neck, pain in my back sometimes. I even had skin peeling off my fingers. And what else? Dizziness. I couldn't, when I was at the traffic lights sometimes in my car, I didn't know when to drive or stop, at the green or red.
Did these symptoms, I take it, do they just gradually start happening to you? So it was sort of like a slow burnout, I suppose.
I'd say that, because I remember 2 days before I hit the wall, we were helping a couple of friends with moving. And when we went to bed with my fiance, I told him, my head is in such a speeded up state of mind that I could throw up.
Wow.
So that's the overwhelm, the stress, the anxiety, everything. What am I supposed to do? Because my identity was so strongly tied to my work, being productive, being successful, driving a nice car,
Yeah. But I think that's what we're so brought up and sort of it's ingrained into us that for success, we have to have a certain type of house, a certain type of car, a certain amount of money. And I think when we start getting those things, it's really difficult to then take a step back away from them again and say, well, actually, is what I'm doing the right thing for me? And I think that for you to be able to, even though you got to this point, which was quite serious for you, to be able to still take that moment and say, you know what, I need this for myself. I need some time for me. So what did you do then you said you had 6 months away from work. What did you do to help yourself to sort of bring yourself back to feeling like you again?
The first week, like I got 1 week of sick leave from the
Oh,
first
wow.
doctor that I met. Because, he was just a normal doctor, I would say. He was like, you're a young, beautiful girl. You should learn how to manage your stress. You're probably going to work for another 40 years or so. And I was like, thanks for the help. So I got 1 week. And after that week, I read a book from a Swedish man called Björn Natthiko. He died in ALS like a couple of years ago, but he had been a monk in Thailand, and yeah. So I read his book, and after reading that book, I quit my job.
Oh, so in this book was what a profound sense of like you realizing who you were and what you wanted? Or...
I realized that I have one life, and I've always had this feeling of I'm meant for something bigger. I remember saying when I was maybe 14, 15 years old that I am not meant to work 9 to 5. Like I am an adventurous type of person. I love to decide what I want to do whenever I want to do it. Sometimes I'm the most creative at night, sometimes in the morning. So reading that book just gave me the courage. And I was like, what am I trying to fit into? This is not going to work out in any good way. So after a week, I quit my job. And my last day at work was in the last of July. So, and then I was on sick leave for another 5 months after that. And during my sick leave, I went to Asia to find myself, get some more inspiration. That's when I started to allow myself to think outside the box instead of, thinking what job should I get now that is similar to this one, the same, fancy title or earning a lot of money. And as I got home in October, 2 weeks later was on this mental coach education because I thought, at least I want to learn how to not end up where I was with the burnout ever again.
But also for you to be able to take something that you have been through and turn that into a positive, and say, even though you went through this period of time where you struggled and you didn't know, I'm sure, how you were going to get through it to become the person that you've now become, to now take that and say, you know what, I can help myself, but also I can help other people achieve their best businesses, their best life, their whatever it is they want to achieve as well, which I think there's something special in that.
Yeah. And also during my sick leave, I was in contact with 2 psychologists and 3 doctors. And not one of them was talking about nervous system regulation, limiting beliefs holding me back to staying productive and, achieving things all the time because that's how I feel like a good person. And that's today that makes me go crazy.
People aren't talking about these things enough.
No, it's very, what word should I say or use? Not Western, because that's an old saying, but it's not a lot of spirituality at all or body-mind connection, not at least with those people that I met during my sick leave in Finland.
For those people that can't find a way of stopping, and for those people that are struggling to keep the momentum going, do you have any advice for them or any tips that could help them, even though they can't take this break away from it, to help manage any stress or overwhelm that they might be going through?
Well, today I see burnout as just this gathering name of whatever it could be behind you, but it's usually about either, as I said, self-awareness, I would say, is the first thing that I would focus on. Who are you? How are you spending your days? What are your strengths? What are your biggest dreams, deep inside? why are you doing what you're doing? And then the next thing I would say is mindset or limiting beliefs, because that's what held me back or held me stuck, thinking that fancy titles, fancy cars, more money is the way to success. And then stress management, as I said, like the nervous system, if it's all the time in fight or flight for any reason, it can be trauma, it can be all sorts of things. You're never going to be able to enjoy life, because your peace of mind is pretty, like, one of the biggest things, I would say, or the like basics of enjoying your life at all, like being able to enjoy your life. If your brain isn't working as it should, you're not going to be able to enjoy anything else. And then it's boundaries, like how good are you at setting boundaries around you at work or at home? Are you a people pleaser? Time management, how do you spend every day? Like, if you start looking at every minute spent during your 24 hours a day, you will be pretty surprised by how much time you're probably putting on things you don't want to like use your time for.
So when I talk to my one-on-one clients, like when we work together, I always say, like, to start the day, to have 3 priorities of what it is that you want to achieve for this day. So things that are going to make the biggest amount of impact on whatever it is your goal is for that period. And then focus on those 3 things before you then deal with absolutely anything else, so that you can get what's done to get you one step closer to where you want to be, and then work through anything you have afterwards. Do you think that 3 is maybe too many, or do you think that actually should they be, whether they work from home, whether they've got a brick and mortar store or a market store that they turn up to, do you think there's anything that they can do to sort of set their day up that would help them get through the rest of the day for whatever it is that they might be wanting to achieve that could help them?
I would say having a morning routine and evening routine sets the basic, like, for everything. How you start your day will set the tone for how the rest of your day goes. I love to start my day doing yoga with my fiancé. Like, we have this YouTube 30-day yoga challenge. So we start the day here on our yoga mats. No phone, no screens except from the YouTube video, of course. Then I do my morning journaling, checking in with myself. How am I feeling? What do I need today? Whether that's like structure or confidence, or I don't know. Depends on what my day looks like.
I am someone that likes journaling. Like I've got notepads everywhere. I'm very much into handwritten stuff rather than electronic stuff. So if I can't sleep, I've got a notepad next to my bed where I start writing down the thoughts in my mind to try and get them out of my head. And in the morning as well, like I will list my to-dos through the day, because I get great satisfaction of ticking stuff off.
Yes.
But I just, yeah, for me, it's something that is a physical act, I suppose, like really going through it all. And actually, I think when I start talking to people as well, like, it's something about taking us away from the electronic stuff, because we spend so much time in front of screens, whether we're working or we're watching the TV or whatever, and to go, right, I've got a book here, I'm going to write down what it is that I'm going to do. Is there a way that I can chunk this down any further to go, right, can I make this simpler for me to achieve? Can I really go, right, and get more satisfaction out of a sense of instant gratification, I suppose? Like, we're all so ingrained into wanting to get results now, like, because of the world that we live in, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, we're used to getting instantaneous results.
Yeah.
Like, how can we get these feelings quicker? And rather than having sort of like a big goal, how small can we make each step so we feel like we are successful, I suppose?
And I can hear that you're very self-aware, like you have a lot of self-awareness already just by journaling and actually sitting down for yourself and just, make things more logical, because if we have everything in our heads, it's just a lot of, messy stuff going on. So journaling is one of those like basic things that I encourage every single person on this planet to do, along with either breath work, meditation, or something that just makes your brain get the like possibility to slow down and just, be mindful. Because one of the most, biggest challenges people have is that they feel like their life is on autopilot. Like life is flashing by so fast. And I'm like, yeah, why? Because you're never giving yourself the possibility to stop and pause and just be like, what am I doing? Am I surrounded by good people? Am I doing things from my zone of genius, or is it from my zone of excellence or competence?
When you're working with your clients, do you say for them to journal at a specific time, or is it sort of like when it can fit into their life, I suppose?
With any new habit, we have to start small usually, because otherwise you will get overwhelmed. Because since our brains work 95% like through our subconscious mind, you don't even notice your routines. Like some people tell me like, I don't have any routines, I don't have any daily habits. And I'm like, trust me, you do. 90% probably is like our routines, but you're not thinking about them actually being routines.
Because we're just doing them, we're just acting as we are.
Did you know that every successful product-based business is built on 4 essential pillars? These are attracting new customers, encouraging repeat purchases, increasing spend per visit, and creating a success-orientated mindset. Without the right mindset, even the best strategies struggle to thrive. But when these 4 pillars are solid, you are on track for wild success. And here's the exciting news. These 4 pillars are the foundation of the brand new Abundant Business Membership. Inside, you'll gain step-by-step videos to help you implement proven systems tailored to your business. Whether you're online, have a brick and mortar shop, or work from a market store. Each month, I'll release relevant content focused specifically on what product business owners need. Plus, every Tuesday, you'll receive exclusive one-on-one access to me via Telegram, where you can drop me questions as much as you want, and I'll respond personally with insights and advice tailored just for you. Are you ready to build your wildly successful product business? Simply click the link below to get started, and I'll see you in Telegram on Tuesday.
Whenever I introduce something new to my clients, I always tell them to do it maybe once a day or once a week, because then you can build up this habit and you get this, as you said, instant, is it
Gratification, yeah.
Yes. Like, if I tell someone to, or if one of my clients would say that they have a goal of starting to work out, I'm not like a fitness coach in any way, but then I'm like, okay, so what do you want to do? I want to run 5K. Then I'm like, okay, today let's do 100 meters. And they will be like, oh my God, I did it. Instead of going, I will do 2 kilometers right away. And then they will have pretty surely sore legs and, everything. And they're like, oh, that was so exhausting. But if you take it small from the beginning and you know that this is a goal that is really like coming from my inner self, and it's connected to what I really want to do, my future self and everything, then it should be pretty attractive to you. It's realistic. And yeah, start small. So with the same thing with journaling, meditation, breath work, start with 30 seconds. Answer 1 question in your journal just to get started.
You should have a goal, but to achieve that big goal, we shouldn't be putting so much pressure on ourselves to be achieving it like now, and to be able to take sort of like 3 steps back from it and say, okay, right, well, that's where I want to be. How do I achieve like this little goal first? How do I achieve then this goal? And should the goal that we are wanting to achieve, it should have enough of a reason why behind it. Like it should have that, why do I want to achieve this? Like, what is it going to bring to my life, to my business, whatever it might be?
Yes. So that's like the basic tool that I use always for setting goals, which is the SMART goal tool. S is specific, M is for measurable, A is for attractive, R is for realistic, and T is time bound. And you just use that little simple tool, you will just be like, oh my God, this is absolutely like manageable. I can do this. And then the next step is to like figure out what's the first little step. And maybe you have this big goal might be 1 year or 2 years, 5 years ahead. But then when you ask yourself, what is the first step of this ladder? Then you will get rid of all the overwhelm in seconds. I promise.
That's
like,
great.
Everybody thinks like, I want to open a cafe in Jamaica or whatever. It's never going to work. And then I'm like, why do you want to do that? Is it attractive from 1 to 10? And they're like, maybe 3. It would just be fun. Then I'm like, skip that goal.
So you break down the SMART, so you give them sort of like a sliding scale of like 1 to 10 to how attractive it might be, how specific it might be, how measurable it might be, like to say, right, where on the scale are you putting that?
Yeah, the attractive and realistic, like the A and R in the SMART, that's where I have them to rate from 1 to 10. And the specific is like who's included, what do you want to, like try to be as specific as possible, not just be like, I want to work out. What do you want to work out? Maybe go to the gym 3 times a week. And what gym maybe you can also include, so it gets even more specific. I want to go to gym X 3 times a week in the morning. Then you have a very specific goal.
So you'll say like the more specific, the more like ground down to the sort of like minute detail, like even down to, I suppose, like how are you going to get there, like what you're going to do when you get there, like, and to really understand like this is how I'm going to achieve this sort of bigger goal over here.
Yes. And if the client is, as I said, rating this goal as just a 3 out of 10 in the attractive and realistic, maybe 5, then I would ask the person like, are you sure this is something that you really want to do? Because the attractive rating should be at least 8 or 9 or 10, of course, because then you know this is something they really, really want to do.
Say like the beginning of the year, a lot of people will sit there and they will start making like their goals for the year. And they will, so for like their business, they're going to say, right, this year I want to do this. Are there any ways in which they could incorporate what you've just said to help them really get the most out of what it is they want to achieve, and to make sure that when by the time they get to December in 2025, that they will have managed to achieve as many of these goals as possible?
Absolutely. Use the SMART tool that I just told you, then divide the goal into smaller goals. But then again, I would also include the wheel of life to be like, it depends on the business, of course. But I always start, it doesn't matter if you're an athlete, you're a business owner, you're a stay-home mom. I always start with the wheel of life.
So what's that?
It's 8 categories that you get to rate once again from 1 to 10. And you will get a clear picture of what area of your life are you most satisfied with, and what area do you need more like care, show more care for. And then, of course, how you are doing or feeling as a person will affect both your business and your private life. So before I would jump onto setting goals, I would still check in with how am I doing in my personal life. And then if we only talk about business, then I would do the SMART goal and maybe also include some visualization.
Yeah.
To be like, where do I want to be? Like, close your eyes. Imagine your dream business and dream future you, of course. And make sure that you every month check in with yourself, where you are, at your goals, like what about your progress? And after we do the SMART goal, like exercise or tool, I also do the, I don't know if there's a name for it, but it's like now, where are you now with this goal? Where do you wish to be? What resources do you have? And what obstacles could you meet along the way? So you have like a pretty good picture of, okay, this is what I can use to get there. Like I have my people, I have my coach, I have this book, I have, you know, the knowledge you probably already have. And what challenges do you have? You can get, you know, sick. There can be, I don't know, you just map out possible obstacles.
So is this part of the wheel of life then? You're saying like
No. Now I'm just talking about a lot of things that I'm doing.
Okay. No, it's great. So you're saying, so for somebody who's putting a plan in place to say, right, this is where I want to be, this is how we can break it down into individual goals, but also understanding this is like a possible obstacle that I might have to get over, so they can not necessarily worry about those obstacles and worry about anything that could come and block them from achieving it in sort of like a linear path.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know there is not a straight line to any type of success that we want to achieve. But to anticipate that this problem could arise because it might have happened in the past, or it might have happened to somebody else.
Absolutely. And one of the most common obstacles is that their motivation might fail.
Okay.
What if I get a big, like, what if I don't make this amount of money before this? Then they lose their self-trust. So that's usually one of the biggest things to work on, mindset, which is usually something you have to master if you want to have some crazy big goals.
I wholeheartedly believe mindset is 80% of any success that we put ourselves through. So for someone, if they were losing motivation as they're going along because maybe something might have taken them in a curveball, might have knocked them off course, what is there anything that you could suggest they do to sort of pull them back again, to say, well, actually, right, this is what we can do to keep ourselves going?
As long as you are 100% sure that your goal is aligned with your core values, who you want to be, where you want to go, like where do you see yourself in 1 year, 5 years? And that may change, of course, but as long as you are very clear on your mission and purpose, and you are taking action from your zone of genius, I can promise you that your motivation will probably stay pretty high all the time. And then again, we all get challenges. Maybe you don't get anyone to sign up for your course. You don't get anyone to buy your product, even though you have this big launch. But then again, so what? Like, you don't fail until you give up. There is no such thing as failure.
There's so much in the people get wrapped up in putting something together, like launching a new product. Like, so if they have gone through and they've put so much love, care, and attention into wanting to get this thing out into the world, but maybe not as many people buy it as they wanted to, and that can be a massive knock because they've invested a lot of money into this, invested a lot of time into it, and for them to then sit there and say, oh, well, I've failed, like, what am I going to do now? Yeah. But there is always another way. Like, until you sit there and say, actually, I give up, there always will be another way if you can look at it from sort of like a 30,000 sky view. So you're looking down on it and saying, right, I might have tried this avenue, but what about trying this way instead? What about this?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also why I would say that if you have big goals and you know that it's maybe not that common to make this goal that you have, no matter what like industry you're in, take help from people who are already where you want to be.
I mean, I don't know how many different coaches you might have used in the past, but I think I've now used 8 different types of people for different. I mean, so when I first started my first business, it was a hair salon. I opened it many years ago, and I spent 2 years struggling with that. I was going and going and going and going, and I was in so much debt, it was painful. But it wasn't until I came across somebody that helped me put systems and strategies and actually to understand how a business works in place that I managed to turn it around and do what I wanted to do with it. And through every season of my life, like I've gone, well, what else do I want to achieve now? And who can help me with that? Who is just sort of like that bit further ahead of where it is that I want to be? And I think it's something in that where you sort of want to take everything and be the owner of your life. You want to be the owner of your business or wherever it is that you want to take yourself, but to realize that you do need help.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest problem, at least in, I don't want to, talk about stereotypes, but at least where I come from, it's a lot of I can do it myself mindset.
Yeah.
Asking for help is being weak. But today, I would say that I would never continue, I don't know, my personal journey or business journey without anyone that I know can just support me or bring me back up if I feel like I can't do it myself. But nowadays, I feel like I'm unstoppable, to be honest. I just feel like whatever throws my way in the future, I know I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to die if that person dies, or if this business don't work out, I'm going to be such a failure and I'm just going to disappear and be a nobody. So that's, I think, why I'm today feeling unstoppable. But yeah, it's been a long journey the last 2 years.
It's obviously paying off for you, like for the way that you now feel in yourself. I'm sure 2 years ago, for you to say in 2 years' time, you're going to feel unstoppable, you would have turned around and laughed in their face.
And I remember posting this post on Instagram where I am writing out for the first time publicly to everyone that I want to be my own boss one day. And I remember feeling like, who am I to put out this? Like, what am I going to do? I don't even have a business idea. I don't know anything about my future right now. It was just, so uncertain, everything. And then 3 months later, I started my business. Like directly from being on sick leave, I started my business.
You started to put the wheels in motion, or was it the self-belief that you had to go, you know what, I can do this?
I remember it's not as strong anymore, but I had this strong thought or maybe limiting belief that the worst thing that could happen to me was me being forced to apply for a job. Like, I don't want to work for anyone anymore.
If you have self-belief, if you have discipline, because it sounds like you've put yourself through a lot of discipline to get yourself to where you are now, to get to the other end in 2 years, to say, you know what, I'm unstoppable. I can actually achieve anything that I want to achieve. That is incredible. I love it.
I know. And thank you. I've always had a very, very negative self-image. People would never believe that. And my self-esteem has been very, not stable at all. But it's also building as well as my business is growing, and I am growing with it, at the same time. So yeah, life's a journey and you should enjoy as much as possible of it.
And change the way that you speak to yourself as well, because I think we have so many of these negative thoughts that are going through our minds that we say to ourselves, oh, you're stupid, oh, you can't do that, oh, why are you bothering? And actually to start reframing these things or answering yourself in return, and feeling like, actually I can do this, it is possible.
Yeah. If you focus on the money, you will probably never end up being genuinely happy.
If you focus on the impact that
you serving and working from your zone of genius and having the bigger picture. It doesn't have to be like you're going to be the number one in UK or Finland or Europe or the world, but it has to be connected to who you really want to be. And a lot of people don't even know that because we're just conditioned to be in a certain way from school, society, parents, family, you know, could be anyone. I've never liked school. That's because I've never been, you know, I didn't have bad grades or anything, but I never felt like I fit in there. And that has had a lot of negative impact on my self-esteem. Like, because I wasn't a good person in school, like a student, that means I'm a bad person.
You know what? I think you have just helped me realize exactly why I felt what I did for so long, because I was the same at school. I wasn't a naughty kid, but I was definitely someone that liked to sit and chat. I've always, that's why I do this. I like talking. And so for me to get to the end of that, and I got to 16, and I was like, I don't want to do anything else to do with college. I don't want to go to university. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But to turn that and throw yourself into a world of business where actually I didn't know how to run a business either. I was just learning as I was going. But for for those 2 years when I was struggling, I was like, why can't I do anything? The whole thought process going through my mind was a downward spiral. It was like, well, why can't I? And well, it's because you're not good enough, because it's why you're stupid enough to think you can do this.
Yeah.
But to go through a few steps forwards after getting a bit of help and getting a bit of assistance and someone just literally guiding you in the right direction, to go, oh, actually, I can do this. It's just, I need some help along the way.
Yeah. And that's why I love to do what I do now, because I can have people having, you know, a lot of money. They have the success through their business or through whatever title they have, but they still feel like they're not good enough. And I'm like, that's so interesting. How did you end up there? And they're like, well, I was good in school. I got this degree in this and that. And now I'm here and I'm not happy. So I'm like,
wow.
Okay. Their limiting beliefs and their fears have just, you know, taken over their whole world. So they think that they are this person. They're not meant for anything more than this.
Yeah, it does go to show that no matter how we see somebody, like, we don't actually know what's going on in their heads. And we might think somebody might be successful or someone might have a successful business, but that person could be in a turmoil.
Yeah. I don't follow anyone on Instagram anymore because I can't stand people just showing their best sides all the time. If you don't even know how the people sound when they're talking, how do you know them? You know, if you start to follow someone and they're like, oh my God, their life looks so perfect and they have so fancy houses and they go on vacation all the time, but you have no idea what kind of relationships they have. Are they deep and meaningful, or is it just, you know, looking good on like, you know, pictures and videos? So I'm very, very like picky with who I'm following because I want to know them pretty much. Not, of course, I don't share everything myself, but I try to be as transparent as possible.
But it comes back to authenticity, doesn't it?
That's what I love.
I like to think that, especially on social media, that this whole sheen that people used to put across their page, I like to think that it is sliding a little bit and we are able to see more of who people are, because especially, I'm the same as you, like I'll sort of swipe through and I'll look at people and I'll say, well, okay, that's great. I'll go onto their page, but if I don't see anything more about that person, I don't care. And I think actually it's the same for, even if you're trying to promote your business, like people want to see the person behind that business. They want to see how you got to this point, like why you care so much about what it is that you're doing.
Absolutely. And I think also, I just think about, I used to hate Instagram myself. And today I have my business account, and I also have an account with my fiance, like a travel account from when we were in Australia 5 years back. And then I have my private one. And my, like, just my emotions or my thought of Instagram changes when I change between these accounts, like drastically.
Really?
Because when I go to my mental coach Alexandra profile, everything I see and the suggestions that may come up if I scroll one time too much, you know, and you don't see the ones you follow, I'm like, okay, stop. I'm aware of this is not what it's probably some cute dogs or something, because that's what my feed is filled with, like cute animals and personal growth, kind of. But if I go to my personal one, I still follow so many people from, you know, back in the days that I am sorry, but I don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
Like, I know so much people, and I am sorry, but I have 24 hours a day, like everybody else, and I don't want to spend even 1 minute looking at what some people do. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's healthy boundaries, even though people can be like, oh, she hasn't liked my picture in so many months, I'm gonna unfollow. Fine, that's good. I'm gonna unfollow too, but if I see them live, of course I, you know, say hello.
It's manners, isn't it?
Just don't go that often to my private account anymore.
We need to surround ourselves with people that want the same for us, or inspire us, or motivate us. And I think if people aren't doing those things for us, they could be holding us back.
Absolutely. Being mindful when you are on social media, that's a life hack.
Yeah.
Like, every second you spend on Instagram should be something that is inspiring you or maybe entertaining you. Like, sometimes I think it's fine for me to watch some cute dogs or cats or whatever it is, because it gives me a, you know, a nice.
Of course, makes you feel fuzzy.
But immediately when it comes it's news or it's some, you know, media about what's happening around in the world, I'm not saying that I'm closing my eyes for everything, but can I do something about it? I can't save the world, no. So I'm just trying to do my best to create a better world.
As we come to the end, is there one piece of advice that you can give to people, whether it be personally or professionally, that could help them in the best possible way?
One piece of advice. Well, if you listen to this episode and you felt like what I am talking about resonates with you, you can follow me on Instagram, and I can probably help you to guide you towards a life that feels more fulfilling and that takes you one step closer to waking up every single morning and be like, I'm so thankful and happy that I have another day of this beautiful thing called life in front of me.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alex. And I will, of course, have all the links for you underneath this episode, so people can come and check out your Instagram page and they can find you and get in touch, because I think I've really enjoyed this conversation. So thank you so much.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Sam.
Did you know that every successful product-based business is built on 4 essential pillars? These are attracting new customers, encouraging repeat purchases, increasing spend per visit, and creating a success-orientated mindset. Without the right mindset, even the best strategies struggle to thrive. But when these 4 pillars are solid, you are on track for wild success. And here's the exciting news. These 4 pillars are the foundation of the brand new Abundant Business Membership. Inside, you'll gain step-by-step videos to help you implement proven systems tailored to your business. Whether you're online, have a brick-and-mortar shop, or work from a market store. Each month, I'll release relevant content focused specifically on what product business owners need. Plus, every Tuesday, you'll receive exclusive one-on-one access to me via Telegram, where you can drop me questions as much as you want, and I'll respond personally with insights and advice tailored just for you. Are you ready to build your wildly successful product business? Simply click the link below to get started, and I'll see you in Telegram on Tuesday.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.